Hi there! Long time no see. Yes, I just got buried under a lot of stuff that has to do with buying and selling and packing and other things, so I haven't filmed a video for a long time, so I wanted to do one last one here in my garden. You'll see my new garden too. Actually, I'm not going to go on too much about that because this is the second intro I filmed. You're going to see the first one after this one, but I just wanted to explain it was shot on an iPhone by someone I don't know that well. Long story. So the sound is a little bit wonky and the picture isn't quite as clear. So I wanted to film this intro also too. It's the last video I'll do on this porch. So I will miss this porch, but hey, it's onto a new porch. But I cut out a lot of the clips in my new garden just because of the wind and the sound, and I was turned around, and so you won't see all that much of it, but you can get an idea. And I'll be filming a lot more over there in the coming months. And even though I haven't been posting on a regular basis here on YouTube, I have on my website, joyousgarden.com. There has been a new post every week, so go over there and check it out on the home page. And this lovely poinsettia is Valentine. That is the variety. It grows taller, very dark red, and in that rosette kind of a form. It's one of my favorites. But I almost didn't post this video because I'm getting short on time and all that, but I thought no, I wanted to do it because you aren't going to see this garden again. So it's a really rough video, but I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas season and Happy New Year. At this time of year, the holiday season, I do a tour of my garden. But this year I'm moving in about 8 days. I have bought a new house here in Tucson, and this house will close in 2 days. So this is the last tour of my garden here. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I do a lot of videos and blog posts on bougainvillea. This is my bougainvillea Barbara Karst. As you can see, it's a really deep, intense red rose color. It is December 6th, actually today. Happy holidays. And in the summer, it is a much paler, washed out color, especially this summer. Here in Tucson, we had a record heat. We had a record May, record August. It was hot in October, and we had a lot of sun and no rain. So it was tough on my gardens. So you're gonna see. All right, in we go. I'm going to start with this cactus pot here because this is a paper spine cactus, which is really cool. I hope you can hear that. It sounds like paper. But this branch here fell off, and so I healed it off for 2 days and I stuck it in there, and it has rooted in beautifully. My annual vinca over here is still blooming. I'm going to cut that all the way back, and it'll come back, even though it's called annual vinca. It comes back. My poinsettia, I just bought them today at Green Things here in Tucson. Another cactus pot. I had 6 in here. I took it apart in 3, so they're much happier. They have room to grow now that they have been separated a bit. Okay, this is my Adenium Desert Rose, which has been inside because the evenings have gotten cooler here. So just filmed a short video on that, which we'll post before this one, so you will have seen that. And then this beautiful cactus pot, all gone. The pack rats ate everything, and you can see the red spine and the red hook when they just ate. Okay, so we're gonna go by this garden bed, which does need to be pruned, but it was hot this summer, and then with buying and selling a house, I didn't get to do too much pruning on the lantana or the apricot bells here. But this is my red edge agave, which I'm taking with me. I'm taking all my plants in containers, and you can see the pack rats ate it there too. Chomp, chomp, chomp. But they have lots of water in them, and the succulents, so it was a way for the pack rats to get the water, but they eat plants all the time anyway, but they are not that active now because it's cooler. My rosemary over here. My variegated elephant's food got really pale. It got a little bit sparse in the middle, you know, because of the heat, but I have pruned it back a bit, and then I will prune it again in spring, but it's starting to really fill in here. And this pot that had all the fleshy succulents in it, most of the fleshy succulents suffered a lot, so I took cuttings there inside. And that squid agave here also I had a beautiful squid agave I brought from Santa Barbara, and it got eaten by the pack rats too. Okay, so these are some of the cactus that were in that other pot that I transplanted. And this is the hairy old man. It's so nice and fuzzy on the top, just on the very top. And then the beautiful golden barrels, I love those. And my plant, which I'm really gonna miss, is my fence post cactus, which is probably about 19 feet tall. My mojito mint, the official mint to make, mojitos, which has more of a citrus flavor than a peppermint flavor, is actually looking better now than it looked in the summer because it was heat stressed like most of the plants here. I want to show you this pink grapefruit tree, which is actually on the other side of the fence, but you can see how it's got a lot of dead growth in it, but it got so badly sunburned and heat stressed. It was so beautiful and full. But it still is going to bear some fruit, but not nearly as much as it had in the past. I love the petalanthus here. They get all crazy and twist as they grow. There's a tomato. I have tomatoes sprout in almost all of my pots, so I'm not quite sure who around here is growing tomatoes, but they end up in mine. I love my foxtail ferns. I'm going to get one or two more for my new garden. And this aloe is actually on the tail end here. And of course, I will take my elephant's food pot, with me. This is the upright one. And this is one fleshy succulent that does relatively well in the sun and the heat. And this wrinkled one here is a sour, I think it's called a sour orange. It's the first year is actually fruited, so who knew about that? But here's my string of bananas, which you've seen many times. It does need to be thinned out, but this is not the time. And my string of dolphins, I just noticed, is going to flower. I've been so busy, I hadn't noticed that it has some flower buds on it. And my beautiful rosette aeonium, brought these as cuttings from Santa Barbara, and they look horrible in the summer, pale and kind of stressed out, but now they're coming back and some color is coming into them. Here's my Staghorn fern that I brought from Santa Barbara. It has never looked this bad. This is not a good climate for Staghorn ferns at all, but it has never looked, like this at all. I had it inside for the summer, but I don't know what happened to it. It's just, I don't know if it just got heat stressed even in there. I don't know. But I'm going to wait and see how it comes back, if it's going to come back, because gardening is all about experimentation after all, but I knew it was not the best climate for it. I just did not want to leave that one behind. And of course, I'll be taking that little succulent pot there. And this succulent pot here, I just got a new Opuntia Joseph's coat because the pack rats ate almost everything in this pot too. So I did plant some things about a month and a half ago just to fill that in a bit. My 3-trunked ponytail palm, which I got as a little 6-inch plant at the farmer's market in Santa Barbara. It didn't do too bad in the heat this year. It did fine. It did fine. Now, not my Hoya. My Hoya topiary was pale and bleached out, but it's starting to come back. And it's also starting to put out some more trails because the heat got the plant and the pack rats got all the trails because this pot was almost all covered with trails. So it was a tough summer for some of the plants here. My gray fishhooks senecio here is actually doing really well, putting out a lot of new growth at the top. You are coming to a new home, but I like to keep it pruned about here because when I first moved here, the trails went almost all the way down the ground, and it got really thin and spindly. So I found that in the heat, it's better to keep these fleshy succulents a little bit on the shorter side. And this is my somewhat ignored back area, but there are a few plants I want to show you here. This is a pine cone cactus, and it looks a bit obscene just there all by itself, but it had a couple of arms to it and a couple other stems to it, but this has all been chewed off by the pack rats. So I'm going to see how that comes back in the spring. And this one will be a challenge to move. This is a pencil cactus, and if you break it, it emits that sap. So this one has to be really careful to move. Maybe I can get some clips of them moving this plant, because this one is not only very it's tied up on the wall because it's leaning, but it's very heavy, so it'll be a challenge to move this one. And this planter here I just redid this spring, but it just almost everything got burned because it was, and the reflected heat here is just like, we had so many days that were over 102 in a row for days and days and months. It was really hard on a lot of the plants here. Plus it was hard on us people too. It was like, ooh, crazy. So my aloe vera, of course, I'm going to take this. All the babies are really growing in beautifully, and it is turning green again. It has turned green. It was all sort of orangish over the summer because of the heat. This only got like maybe an hour of sun in the height of summer, but the heat, it was just crazy for it. So now, and the leaves are getting plump again too, because the leaves get really thin in the heat, and you can see some dry tips, but that's because it was so dry this summer. So all in all, it is looking a lot better. I have a lot more shade at my new garden, in my new garden, so this will be happier. And now we're gonna jump in the car and head over to my new garden. So come along. So here we are at my new house and garden. So welcome. Oh, by the way, I'll be back on a much more regular schedule in like early January, probably the second week in January. I'll be doing some more videos for you. I think the first one is going to be how to increase the humidity in your home for houseplants, because I do it here in the desert. I'm also going to do a series about planting and growing succulents indoors and a whole bunch of other things. Of course, lots of houseplant stuff. So stay tuned for that next year in 2021. Wow. Okay, and my friend pruned these two mesquite trees. One requirement that I wanted is I wanted trees, because plants grow so slowly here in Tucson because of the climate. So I have like 8 trees or 9 trees on the property, and these were very thick and dense with mistletoe. They got pruned out, and they also got taken up off of the roof too, so it lets more sun in. So let's go around over here to the side, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, now coming to my backyard where I will be spending a lot of time. And I also wanted a pool because when you live here in the desert, it is very nice to have a swimming pool. It's also very dry, so it's like having a giant turquoise pond right in your backyard, which I love. The Aloe Verde tree and the African sumac also got pruned. I'm going to redo this planter in here. And this doesn't have that much planted in it. This is the main area I'm going to concentrate on right in here. I also have a north-facing patio right off the kitchen. And when you have a north-facing patio in Tucson, it's gold because in the summer the sun is just so strong. So it's nice to have that. And here, along this wall here, I'm going to plant in, groupings, but I'm not going to plant anything too tall because I don't want to ruin the view. Some things are, I don't know if they're dead, but they're not doing well. But there's one crepe myrtle. You'd say it's not a good climate for crepe myrtles or nandinas. So I'm going to be doing quite a bit of planting in there too. And then this is the last spot back here. It's got the ugly old pool filter and pump. I have to replace that. And I'm going to do a little bit of planting in here, probably just like the green hopseed bushes, something nice green that can take the sun because this is the west side. Maybe I'll do a couple more specimen cacti back here, but just to bring some greenery because at my old garden I was so used to having greenery around the porch. But as I said, I'm going to bring all the pots, so they'll provide some beautiful greenery around here. And I am going to be doing some planting. I'm going to be doing a lot, so I will share with you what it'll probably be the front yard, then the planter here, and the area around the pool, so you'll see what I'm going to be doing here. So I look forward to coming back in the new year and working full-time. I have a lot of videos planned for you, as I said, so stay tuned for those and be sure and hit subscribe and come back for more. I would really appreciate it. And I always appreciate you watching these videos. And I just want to say, let's get out in our gardens and make our world a more beautiful place. Happy holidays, happy 2021. And I really look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.